To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Welcome to the Talk About the Magic podcast, where you'll find inspiration and encouragement tied together with the magic of Disney. Now, here's your host, Joseph Ballesteros.
What is going on, Magic Chairs? Welcome back to Talk About the Magic. So that was a short break, and I'm going to go into it today, of course, on the show. I'm excited to be doing this again, though. I'm just gonna get into it and kind of let you know what's been going on, what happened. I did a show pretty dramatic, just because that's how I felt at the time. As far as I was needing to focus on, because I felt like I was trying to do too many things. I just felt like I was getting burned out, and I wanted to focus in on, not to say things are important to me, because obviously this is very important to me, but kind of put my attention on just kind of one thing. And I did that. And while doing that, I actually had kind of a realization that I really, really, really needed this. I missed this show and the podcast, and it just helped me in so many levels and ways. And so, this show has gone through a lot of different changes in the past. If you've been listening since the beginning, you know that it's gone through changes, but also it kind of has kept this main core. I should say this main core has been, consistent longer than anything else, which is that positivity. And this whole time that I was, thinking about the show and everything, I started thinking, of course, back to what we were doing exactly as far as bringing, guests to talk about Disney, kind of focusing on, just the fun thing about the park, and just to, kind of help you have a fun day. I felt like that wasn't being true to me, and what I wanted to do, my vision of what Talk About the Magic, had become, which was to really spread that encouragement and positivity. And what's weird is that doesn't necessarily have to do with Disney. You can definitely do a podcast that just focuses on, inspiration and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with Disney at all. But I like Disney, and I know you like Disney too. And so I thought, I think it's easier to talk with Disney kind of as a backbone, and hopefully will give still inspiration and encouragement to you, the listener. And you can relate a little more, maybe because we kind of all have the same passion and love. Because while we may not all agree on the same things when it comes to life, politics, whatever it is, this kind of keeps us together as far as we at least can all agree that Disney is a lot of fun to visit. It creates an amazing, amazing emotional memory, and it can really help your day get better, no matter who you are. And so I was, I've been focusing on, of course, doing, the apparel and stuff. And it was, and I'll get deeper into that as far as how that's going, but it's been kind of shifting as well. You can head over to secondstarakapparel.com, check it out there. We got some of the Disney inspired apparel, as well as, the ability of you customizing your own shirt. Maybe you want something for your reunion or for your church or something, you can message me. We can get that happening. But I've kind of been doing that more locally. I haven't been, I was really gun-hoing for internet and really focusing on and it just hasn't happened that way. It's really been more local, which is awesome. I mean, getting people interested in the site, whether it's local or over the internet, is still fantastic. And I'm saying all this because all of this, I think, in some ways relatable to you. You may not be trying to start a business. You may not be trying to, but it's easy to feel overwhelmed, right? It's easy to feel kind of like, I need to take a break. And so the only thing that helped me kind of the only thing that stayed consistent in my brain as far as helped me kind of relax is I just kept thinking about the show. I'd go back and listen to the show when we'd have guests on, shout out to literally every single guest. But because I'm dealing with apparel, I re-listened to, the show we had with Walt's Wardrobe. I'm going to name their Instagrams account so you guys can find them. Walt's Wardrobe, Main Street Press, Castle Co. There's one more. Oh, I think it was let me see. I think it was Magical Wish. No, they just changed it. That's why I can't remember. Let me see, because I don't want to forget. But I was listening to these shows again, and I was remembering these people started something and they focused in and they really were able to do it. They were able to And listening to the shows while I was trying to get inspiration for my own shop, for my own apparel and everything, I was really getting inspiration as far as just in general in life, and not just that, but also in the good, wonderful feeling I would have when I interviewed these people, because it would just pump me up. It would just get me excited. And so I said I really wanted to bring that back. And that's what we're going to do. Saying all that to just say, we're bringing it back. I'm focusing on, I'm going to do a lot less. I'm not doing like I wanted, like I had said before, I was wanting to do, doing, 2 or 3 shows. I'm not doing updates on the blog except for Sundays, a lot less. And it's not because, I'm trying to just, take a break, or because I feel like it's not worth it, but because I feel like if I try to do too much, I get that feeling again, and I need to focus on what's really important. And to me, this podcast and the way the show was, based on the feedback that you guys were amazingly, willing to give me about the shows, is very important. I never got as much feedback for any other kind of shows that I did more than I did when I had guests on, or when I was doing something regarding inspiration and positivity. So I am going to do that. I'm bringing that back. Guests will be returning different times, sometimes not every week. And that's okay. That's something I learned as well. You just can't, and no matter how well you try to schedule, it's just the way it is. There's people, they all have their own schedule and stuff, so it gets tough, and that's okay. I'm excited just to have this back up to talk about, and to hopefully inspire, I should say, not just talk about, but hopefully inspire, you who's listening. So, that's kind of the gist of it. So if you're new to this show and you don't know what's going on, that's cool. Just go back and listen to previous episodes. Skip the one that says thank you, and go back and listen to previous episodes so you get an idea. But hopefully you guys will, understand where I'm coming from. I'm telling you this because I want you to know how I felt, because maybe you feel that way sometimes. And it can feel like, as silly as it sounds, because I'm talking about a podcast per se, it can feel like everything is just closing in. Like you just feel like everything you're trying to do, you keep failing and failing and failing, and you just want to quit and give up everything. And that's pretty much where I was at. But it's not worth it. And I can say that full of confidence because of the people we've had on the show, because of people like we look up to, people like Walt. Walt Disney. We saw everything that happened with him, and not giving up is such a very difficult thing to do, but such an amazing thing to achieve, because it will help you get closer to your goals. So, getting into today's show, the theme I wanted to talk about today was 3 consistent words, which was happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. And the reason why is because, especially in today's world, it is so easy for our minds to get burdened, overwhelmed, depressed, angry, whatever word that you want to put in there that's opposite of something good. It's easy for our minds to get in that place, because with the way technology is, and then just reality, just life itself, it can really knock us down. But there is something that I think we always seem to overlook, and I can say this personally for myself. This is something I overlook, and I still have trouble with this. It's like I'm not over here saying I got it all figured out, because I don't. But I'm saying it to say, hopefully, that me showing you this weakness will help you to understand that it's not necessarily, you're not alone if you feel this way. But it's something we can overcome together in that sense. But, it's a bad habit, but it's something that happens to me a lot, which is I get, kind of pumped, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, and just things happen. It could be a bad day at work. It could be an issue at home. It could be something not working right, even with my equipment. It could be the frustration that I had everything planned out to work this way. I had step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And, by the 5th step, this was going to be a major, huge, awesome thing that was going to happen. And at step 2, everything just fell apart. And, I don't know how to prepare for that, because I wasn't planning for step 2 to fail. What do I do now? And so it's easy for our minds to just dwell on that. And what's interesting is a lot of the stuff that does happen is out of our control. It really is. You know, a lot of stuff is coming from the outside. We didn't expect it. But that's why it's so important for us to focus on what we can control. What is the thing that we can do? Whether it's something emotionally that we can do, physically we can do. There's something that we can do to help us not necessarily forget the issue, not necessarily get over it and just put it to the side, but it can definitely help on getting to your next step you need to get to so where you'll be able to deal with the issue. And one of the strongest things that we have as our ally is our brain, our mind. Our mind is so here's what's funny about the mind. The mind is so influential. I think that's how you say it, influential. Yeah. It's so influential that it can convince you that it can't work the way you're wanting it to work. Even though it knows it can. And this is what I mean. Let's throw in an example. If you're going, let's say, to a store and you go buy a shirt and that shirt says 50% off. Awesome. You go up to the register and they say full price. You say, no, that's at 50% off over there. And they say, really? Where did you see that at? And you're like, boom, aisle, boom. There was this shirt next to it, this shirt next to it. I know this one's 50% off. You remember that to a T. But then when it's dealing with something maybe that you're trying to do for work or with your family or something, and something happens, it's like you forget everything that you're capable of because this one little thing that's come up is completely controlling you, and your mind tells you, you can't beat this. You cannot do this. You'd fight for that 50%. Like it's the no until tomorrow. You'd fight so hard that if they tell you no, you'll get on Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is, and you'll reach out to the main store and you'll tell them, hey, this store over here in such and such Arkansas or Texas or Minnesota, they don't want to do this. And that. Like you'll go all out for something like that. But when it comes to something, personal or something happening, and you feel your mind would literally just tell yourself like it can't happen. It's not, and it's incredible, the power of the mind, because that will literally knock you out. And maybe a week will go by, 2 weeks will go by, 3 weeks, whatever. Time will go by, and finally you kind of get out of that funk and you realize, I just wasted so much time because I was dwelling on something that really either I could have, one, helped, or two, could not have helped and should have just kept going, get on with it because there's nothing I can do about it. And it's not to say that whatever issue that comes up is not valid. It's not to say that you shouldn't think about it. It's not to say that you shouldn't take time out to really give it the attention it needs. But it is to say that if that thing, whatever it is stopping you from doing what you're trying to do, for accomplishing that goal, whether big or small, whether it's trying to be better at your job, whether it's trying to be better in your household, whatever it is, that little thing should not be stopping you. And it's your mind that has to kind of push you through that. So how does that happen? And this is where I say I'm not perfect. I don't know anyone that is. I don't really feel anyone should be out there necessarily being like, I figured it out but I mean, the fact is, the real thing is that you have to kind of train your mind. You have to train your mind. And like, it feels weird saying that because I know even I'm not at that level. Like I'm not even 100% as far as when I keep trying to train it. And there's some days it just hits me hard and I just mess it up and I have to kind of get out of that funk or whatever it is. But you have to train it. And so this is where the fun part comes in, right? For us Disney fans. And this is where we can relate. One of the things that I like to do, and this is hopefully some stuff that can help you guys out. One of the things I like to do whenever something like that happens, for me personally, I admire Walt Disney for the things he did. I'm grateful that he didn't quit on the things he did because now I have 3 years of experiencing with my family some amazing memories at the parks. I have a fantastic time coming home and, having pizza night and watching our favorite Pixar or Disney film. There, you know what I mean? There's things that we get to enjoy because of him pushing through. And so what I like to do when I get in this weird kind of funk that I'm not able to push through is I pretty much either will listen to an audiobook regarding Walt. Two of my favorite, of course, is one is just Walt Disney. The other one is How to Be Like Walt. How to Be Like Walt is I listen to it like maybe 2 or 3 times a month. I listen to it because it's really, I drive a lot, so it's perfect for me. I don't necessarily have all the time in the world to read. Driving is much more easier for me to listen, or I'm going to the gym or something like that. So How to Be Like Walt, great book, and I'll put that in the show notes so that way you guys can check it out. But or I'll watch stories about Walt, and I like to. I know like PBS did one, which was good. I got that one there. But if you could always just go even YouTube and see kind of some mini documentaries and stuff. But I like to watch those because I enjoy knowing that, and this is going to sound weird, I enjoy knowing that somebody had it bad. And maybe they had it bad as the same as I did, or they had it worse. And I don't say that in the sense of I enjoy their pain, but I enjoy knowing that someone was in a situation that was like mine or worse than mine, and they were able to get through it. And because they were able to get through it, why on earth could I not? Especially because I have so much more than they had. Looking at Walt, he did not have an iPhone. He did not have internet. Think about that. You know what I mean? Like, really think about that. You have the ability to jump on YouTube and watch 15, minutes of cute kittens, cute kittens playing with yarn. That'll help you feel a lot better. Walt didn't have those kind of things. You know what I mean? These people did not live in that life. They got out of a Great Depression. They were dealing with Civil War. I mean, not Civil War, sorry. World War II. Civil War's a little far back. But, you know what I mean? They struggled, and they didn't have the things that we had, but they still figured out ways. And so for me personally, I like to do that. I like to, of course, listen to some music. I like to watch animation. I basically just like to let my brain rest. I say, take a break from whatever it is you're stressed out about. Take a break from the problem that's pushing, right in your face, saying, deal with me now. This is bad. Take a break from it. Let your brain kind of just relax. And it sounds counterproductive because you feel like you need to work on it, right? You need to do something. If you do not do something, this is all going to be for the worst. But it really is kind of training your mind to say, hey, snap out of it. This happened. You can't control that, but you can control how you react to it. You can control whether it's going to push you down and leave you down. You can control whether you're going to fight through it and make something because of what happened. You're going to use the experience as a way to make you better and understand more of what you need to do or how to prepare for the future. Like there's ways to basically kind of train your mind to say, I'm not going to let this beat me. And like I said, at least in my experience, a lot of the times when I let things beat me, I always ended up regretting it. I always ended up saying, if I would have not moped for 7 days or 9 days or 6 days, and not let this thing stress me out and not let this thing make me bite off all my nails or pull my hair out or whatever it is you do to, ease stress, maybe I would have been better off. Maybe I would have, if I just, had tried this or tried that. And it's not until, you look in the past that you see all the mistakes you did. Yet, in my experience, I kept letting that one mistake, major mistake, continue, which was when something happened to me that felt it was just too much, I let it take me down instead of maybe taking a break. I would let it take me down and pretty much have me regret the fact that, I wasn't able to accomplish what I had tried to do. And it became a lot harder to get to where I was trying to go. So happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. These thoughts, and I'm not saying necessarily just thoughts of butterflies or kittens or anything, but happy thoughts, things that really get you out and help you to understand this is not the end, This feeling that you feel, this issue that's come up, this thing that's going through your brain is not the end. Because you can remember now previous thoughts, happy thoughts, where it was a whole different kind of life. It was a whole different kind of time. And that can help you get through it as well. For me, obviously, I remember back before I had kids, before I was married, and I can remember just spending summer days swimming, swimming, coming inside, eating some chips and a hot dog, and then going back outside, jumping in the water and swimming all summer. That's a wonderful memory I have, getting married, I remember working and at the job I was working, I'd get out at almost midnight and I'd come home and, we're a young married couple. My wife would be making dinner. I remember one particular time she brought me dinner and it was from a place called White Castle, which I'm sure a lot of you people know about. But here in Texas, in San Antonio, at least I should say, not in Texas, but San Antonio, it was non-existent. They came and they opened up restaurants here. We did not like them, and we spent our entire lunchtime complaining about what's the big deal about it. I'm going to go to Whataburger. I don't know why White Castle is so popular. I'm going to Whataburger. And then, of course, White Castle eventually did close down in San Antonio, but point is, so I think about that. And that's what I mean. You can think about real life situations, real life memories, and that helps you understand, like, this was, your life was different back then. And things maybe were a little tougher at times or, whatever. But there was a moment where it was good. And that moment, that feeling, at least for me, helps me kind of get out of that funk. It helps me kind of realize, what, this is not fun right now, but it's going to be okay. It's going to get better. And like I said, and by no means am I perfect in this. It's tough. It really is. And that's why I wanted to do the show again, because if you feel that way, if you ever feel stuck or frustrated, reach out to family, friends. If they for some reason aren't available or they can't help you, I have no problem. Send me a message, send me an email. I'd love to kind of just give you some inspiration and pumping up. And of course, listen to this show and previous shows, because if you can get something from this, that's all I'm wanting. I'll talk for 45 hours if it'll give you 1 minute of what you need. I'm okay with that, as long as you're okay listening for the 45 hours. But to me, that's what it really comes down to, as far as understanding that whatever it is that's happening, it does. I'm not belittling it. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm not saying, wipe your, nose and quit your crying. No. I'm not saying that. Let it, deal with it for that minute or two or whatever, a day maybe, even if you need it. But don't let it knock you down for a long time, because you have to remember it's not forever. And if you let it be forever, at the end of the road, when you look back, you will really, really be upset and regret that you let it affect you in such a way. One of my favorite... I say that a lot, one of my favorites, but it's because I do have favorites. There's a lot of favorites I have. I think that's a good thing. You should have a lot of favorites too. But a proverb comes to mind, and it's from Philippians 4:8, and it says, "Fill your minds with those things that are good and deserve praise, things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and honorable." And what's interesting to me about that is, it literally, even back then, it's telling you what to have in your mind, because every single one of those things I just mentioned, true, noble, right, pure, lovely, honorable, there's opposites to those things. You know what I mean? And those opposites will go into your brain, and they will have a huge impact on you. And I don't know why we let the negative hit us harder than the positive. We forget the entire mountain we climbed just because we tripped over a small hill. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, when we are just thinking so positive, when we are feeling so good, that small minor discomfort, it's the end of the world. We drop everything and it's all over. And so I love this, because what it's saying is, even though there's opposite of these things, and even though these opposites will be in your brain and they will try everything to mess you up, don't let that affect you. Think of these things. Always be thinking these things, even when it's not happening, even when it's not true. Think of these things, and this is going to help you get over it. This is going to help you fight through it. This will help you get to that next step. And so for me, that's something that I like to read. I like to look into that and learn from it and say, you know what, I have to train my brain into this of thinking more of positivity, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. Happy thoughts. And of course, making this a Disney podcast, one of my favorite songs, which, again, a lot of favorites, one of my favorite songs to listen to, and I love listening to it if I, listen to it in my car. I will, again, I'll watch a YouTube clip. I'm sorry, Disney, but you got to release Peter Pan on digital. You can't get mad at me. You know, I don't have the Blu-ray. I didn't buy it on DVD. I was too small. So you need to release it again and have it on digital. So what I'm saying is I watched it on YouTube, the clip. But, listening to You Can Fly with Peter Pan, of course. Now think of the happiest things. It's the same as having wings. I think that's so simple, but it's so hard. It is so hard to do that, but it's truth. It really is that thinking those kind of thoughts will take you out of where you're at and help you put you in a place that you need to be. And giving that sense of, of a familiarity to you will help you push through. You know what I mean? When you remember what it feels like to be happy, when you remember what it feels like to, be accomplishing something, when you remember what it feels like to be encouraged, when you remember when it feels like to be, inspired and pumped up, and whatever the reason is for, whether it's for working out, gym, whether it's for going to school and studying, whether it's for being a better parent, whether it's for being a better kid, whether it's just doing a better job at your, work, like whatever it is, thinking those kind of thoughts will help you remember that and get you to that level. So that way, whatever's happening now, whatever issue's happening now, you'll be able to say, okay, you know what? Even though I feel this now, I know I can also feel like that because I felt it before and I can feel it again. I'm going to focus on that and I'm going to push through this. So I really, really hope you guys, enjoyed the show, enjoyed the episode. I really hope that this is something that you're going to come along with me. Like I said, I've said over and over, I'll never stop doing the Sunday podcast. And I learned, first off, again, never say never, but also that I was completely, silly to say that and then try all these other things. I should have kept my original word and say, this is something I really love doing. And I hope that, this show inspires you, encourages you. And if it did, awesome. Please send me a message. Let me know. I love to, say hello, get a new friend. And if it didn't, that's okay. Please share it with someone you think it might help. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. We'll talk about the magic being back on Sundays. Like I said, I will be getting guests again, but I'll be doing shows like this one, which is just going to be me and you. A little more personal. And, just talk about, getting into that inspiration. That's what I want to do. I just want to inspire and encourage, not just myself, but you. I feel like if we can do this, that's how we get, and I said this originally on the show, but I feel like if we can do this, that's how we get our presidents. That's how we get our astronauts, how we get our doctors, that's how we get our Walt Disneys. If we can get this, kind of negative, woe is me, it can never happen mindset out and say, you know what, it's scary, it's a new frontier, but I'm going to push through it and I'm going to make this happen. I think that's how we can see the world change. And that's what I think, obviously, we all want, for the better, of course, not for the worse. But like I said, I hope this is something that you guys enjoy. I'm a little rusty. I think it's only been, 3 weeks or something like that? I'm a little rusty, but I'll get smoother and smoother, and hopefully won't be just, rambling as much as I have. But again, guys, reach out to me. Let me know if you heard the show. Let me know if you liked it. I hope you have a wonderful night, day, weekend. All the information that you would need will be in the show notes. And as always, stay magical.
This was the Talk About the Magic podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay magical.